Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to episode 65 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I am your host, Joe Lady Pavlon. Alongside me today, I have Justin Hebert, Daniel Ford, who
Yeah,
is running late,
yeah,
but he's here.
yeah,
Wow. Uh, Honestly, I have no words for what we saw at Pocono.
yep,
A double header for the first time at the same track in the
yep,
NASCAR Cup Series 70-year history,
yep,
and we're seeing positive reviews.
yeah,
Well, obviously, this was intended from the 2020 schedule announcement back
yeah,
in March of 2019.
yeah. It was supposed to be the doubleheader weekend. Both are. It would have been also this weekend. Also, it would have been the same date, which was ARCA. Except ARCA was supposed to be on. It was supposed to be a little bit different. ARCA was supposed to be ran on a Thursday. All the practices would have been on Friday, but because of it, so they moved to ARCA, and then trucks which that was supposed to be originally Saturday, but that got moved to Sunday just
Yeah.
because to run the first cup race, and then they had the other three races on Sunday.
Okay. And we got so much more to cover here, but let's start with the NASCAR Cup Series at Pocono Race 1, which was round 14. Kevin Harvick finally wins at Pocono. This was one of the remaining tracks that he still
Yeah,
gets to score a victory and finally gets it done at the Tricky Triangle after leading 17 laps from ninth off the grid. Career win number 52 for the
yeah,
Bakersfield, California veteran. Denny Hamlin finished second after leading 10 laps and started third. They drew for pole on Saturday's race.
yeah,
Eric Almirola, boy, I thought he was going to win it after winning stage two at 61 laps led. I thought this was the day he'd break through and win.
yeah,
But, I mean, let's see what else we have here. Christopher Bell, career best finish of fourth, started 36.
yeah,
And what another great run for Levine Family Racing. Their best finish total is second with Matt DiBenedetto. They actually had their best career finish being fourth. I believe two different times at Daytona. Casey Kane and Michael McDowell, both of the July race, 2 consecutive years. Christopher Bell gets a fourth place for his best career finish, and obviously for the team, they had a second place run at Bristol,
yeah,
so
yeah,
they got one more step in its victory lane.
yeah,
Kyle Busch finished a solid fifth after starting fourth. Martin Truex Jr. led 14 laps and started 11th, finishing sixth. Clint Bowyer finished seventh. Michael McDowell, great run
yeah.
for
Front
the
row.
front row driver. He led a lap and started 26th. Brad Keselowski, who won back in 2011, finished ninth after starting eighth. And Chris Buescher led 3 laps and finished 10th.
Yep.
And as for some other drivers outside the top 10, Ryan Blaney, who started second, finished 12th. Ryan Newman led 13 laps, started 13th, finished 15th. Chase Elliott had a mediocre 25th. Tyler Reddick, a drop from his performance at Talladega, but he did start 15th, finished 15 spots back at 30th. James Davison, who
Yep.
comes from a racing background from his
Yep.
family in Australia, made his Cup Series debut for Spire Motorsports
Yep.
and finished 34th. Joey
Yep.
Logano finished 36th after winning stage one and leading 11 laps from six off the grid. He had trouble with
With
a
tire.
he had a puncture, right?
Yeah, yeah, flat tire, and which destroyed the left front of his car. Also, 38th, Eric Jones. He finished out of the race after crashing on lap number 70.
Yeah, so that was race one, and then now here's race two. Now race two started a little bit later due to weather and ended
Yep.
near the nighttime, but we had full distance as
Yep.
well. Denny Hamlin is now the winningest driver at Pocono with 6 victories. He's joined, I think it was, who's on that list?
Jeff
Who has
Gordon.
6 wins in poker?
Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
Yep, he ties Jeff Gordon with 6. Which that actually, he actually has one more victory than Mark Martin. Now he has 41 wins, which he has one over Mark Martin. His 40th win came at Homestead. So 41st career victory for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah. Hamlin led 49 laps and started 19th.
Yep.
Obviously, if you weren't aware, race 2 starting lineup was basically the invert from the top 20 in race 1.
Yeah, so that meant Harvick, who won the day before, he started all the way in 20th. Hamlin started 19th, and Preece, who finished 20th on Saturday, he started on the pole. Kind of. He had to go in the rear of the field when multiple people had to go in the rear because backup cars, engine change, that was basically why people went to the back.
Right, and let's just see what else. The other finishers here, Kevin Harvick led 11 laps, basically inverse of the first, second finishers that we saw on Saturday for race 1 is race 2. Harvick started 20th, finished second. Eric Jones, this was a very, very needed third place finish after starting 38th and having that awful wreck that sent him into retirement from race 1.
Yep.
And it's just that's the thing with Eric Jones. He'll fall one day and get back up and break through the next. Yeah. Chase Elliott, who started 25th and he finished 25th yesterday, or 2 days ago on Saturday, finished 4th on Sunday. With the race.
No, I was about to say, that's Denny Hamlin, not Chase Elliott.
Eric Almirola led 4 laps, started 18th, finished 5th. Matt DiBenedetto finished in 6th. William Byard 7th. Clint Bowyer 8th. Alex Bowman 9th. And Martin Truex Jr., the 2-time winner at Pocono, finished 10th after leading 5 laps and started in the 10th spot. And here's some drivers outside the top 10. Brad Keselowski won stage 2, finished 11th after leading 13 laps and started 12th.
Yeah.
Kurt Busch won stage 1, finished 13th after leading 35 laps. Ryan Blaney finished 22nd after leading 21 laps.
Yeah.
Started 9th. Joey Logano had a forgettable weekend at Pocono, finishing 24th. And Kyle Busch, probably the biggest gum punch from any of the top drivers, 38th place, retired after leading 2 laps in a crash.
Off the tunnel turn 2. Yeah. Also, do you want to know what people... If people say, oh, the race was boring. At the end was kind of interesting. The battle for 7, Bowman lost 7, but then Bowyer's beating and banging with Bowman to get 8th. I'm like, what? When I saw, I'm like, what? I'm like, oh, Bowman's 8th, and then I see Bowyer getting a run, and they're beating and banging for 8th, and Bowyer ended up edging out Bowman for 8th place, which... The thing about Alex Bowman, I don't know what's going on. He's been good. The thing is, he kind of dropped in the points a little bit. He's 8th. He's currently 8th, 117 back from Kevin Harvick. When I saw, I was just looking through, Alex Bowman's kind of dropped a little bit.
Yeah, let's say now the point standings look like this. Kevin Harvick has 581 points, 52 over Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney, yep.
Has 529. Brad Keselowski, 3rd, minus 67. Chase Elliott, minus 71, is 4th. And Denny Hamlin jumped up to 5th in the points, minus 75. And we're going to get into Hamlin a little bit here, because I have an interesting take about his championship hopes. Joey Logano and Martin Truex Jr. have claimed 500 points each, and they're tied for 6th.
And then Alex Bowman is 8th behind them. He's the first one outside of 100 points. He's 100 And
117 behind the leader.
yeah,
Eric Almirola jumped
to
pretty good. Ninth in points, and Kurt Busch is 10th, but Kyle Busch has dropped to 11th.
Yeah, he was actually ninth behind Alex Bowman. He wasn't ninth. He dropped 2 spots. Jimmy Johnson is still staying in 12th. So he's the last. Johnson is the. So we know Kyle Busch is still in the top 12. Remember, the top 12 draw the first 12 spots in owner points. That's how the
Right.
draws are made.
But as for the championship, let's go ahead and look a little closer here.
Oh,
As if the regular season were to end today, obviously NASCAR still yet to make decisions on the playoffs and when the playoffs start, because they don't know what tracks are confirmed for the fall or towards the provisional end of the season.
Yeah.
But it would look like this: behind Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Bowyer, Matt DiBenedetto, William Byron, Eric Jones. So the drivers that would be locked in based off wins, and I'm excluding drivers who are really good in points winless, obviously, they're there. But as for the ones who are in punching their ticket through winning, Denny Hamlin with 4 wins, Kevin Harvick with 3, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano with 2, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Martin Truex Jr., and Alex Bowman with 1, leaving the first seed without a win, 9th, Eric Almirola. Then Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Bowyer, Matt DiBenedetto, William Byron, and Eric Jones.
But also, because if people were wondering who's the guy outside of Eric Jones, it is now Austin Dillon is in 17th. Only 14 points between Eric Jones, and then Tyler Reddick is 18th now because, he's not had a good weekend. Austin Dillon did better than Reddick. He had more luck than Tyler Reddick this weekend. He looked good on Saturday until his wreck. Sunday, he broke his power steering, which that's not good when you break your power steering.
Especially at Pocono.
No, you needed to turn, and his car was so tight, and which really didn't help, so that's why he's dropped to 18th position.
I don't think it'll be long until he gets back up.
And Ryan Newman, he's in the top 30 in points, same as Matt Kenseth is 30th in points. He's in the top 30 also. The thing is, Ryan Newman, he is catching Christopher Bell in points right now. He's past people that ran the full season. Newman missed.
He missed rounds 2, 3, and 4.
He missed 3 races, and he's gaining points, which is a good thing. Ryan Newman just gaining points, which Ryan Newman, he's doing good. Like, he's gaining points, and he's passing people in points.
And he's coming to a racetrack where he's found success in the past, especially after winning in 2013. We'll get more into Indy a little bit later on, because we do have some of the other NASCAR series from Pocono. So the NASCAR Xfinity Series had a race at Pocono.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe, wow, this guy is unstoppable.
Man, you want to talk about restarting third with how many laps it was? Like 3 to go? Or was it an overtime attempt?
It finished in overtime, but how about the restart before that when he spun in turn 1 with a blown tire?
Yeah.
With a blown tire and comes back to win this damn thing.
Yeah.
Talk about not giving up here.
Yeah, that was so interesting. When I saw Briscoe, I'm like, no, he was leading. And then I'm like, he got to pit road, fixed the damage, and he ended up charging through the field to win the race again. I'm like, wow, that is a good comeback. And when he spun, that was with 22 laps to go. When he spun, and he ended up recovering in those 22 laps, which people say, oh, if you spin on lap 1, it's easy. It was 22 to go when he spun.
Basically, everyone had in their minds, it's over for Briscoe.
Yeah.
Pick someone else for today. Wrong. Chase Briscoe led 24 laps,
Yep.
Started third. That's his 6th career win. First at Pocono. So we have not seen a repeat winner at Pocono, and it continues. Ross Chastain finished second after leading 31 laps from 5th off the grid. Jeremy Clements finished third after starting 21st. A very, very solid performance for the owner driver.
Yeah.
Mike Snyder, career best finish of 4th, led 8 laps and started second. For a moment, it looked like he was going to win the race.
But Ross catched them on those better tires.
Mm-hmm.
But then, Mike Snyder, that overtime restart? He was actually on. He and Michael Annett took fresh tires there. That's how they charged back up in the top 5 spots, which was pretty interesting. They charged from back there to get to the top 5.
That was a very, very sticky situation
Yeah.
that cost you whether you did it or you didn't.
Yeah.
Whether you've done it or you don't. I don't know grammar anymore. Let me see who else was out there. Michael Annett finished 5th after starting 12th. Not a bad run for the Junior Motorsports driver. In fact, he's the highest Junior Motorsports driver over teammate Justin Allgaier.
Who rebounded.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was dead again, like Kyle Busch in 2020, but not this case. He won stage 2, led 9 laps, started 4th, but after the big one, we thought it was game over.
He finished 6th. I remember I was like, oh, Allgaier's a free pass. I see him up in the top 10. I'm like, I just checked on the timing. He's like, oh, he's on the lead lap, and he ended up getting 6th place.
Very solid on his part. Brett Moffitt, another good performance for Our Motorsports, finishing 7th. They're starting in 18th.
Yeah.
So 11 spots behind there. Timmy Hill, top 10 run for the Hattori Racing cars, which are helped with the Carl Long team. Timmy Hill finished 8th after starting 34th. Riley Herbst, 9th. And Herbst came back after an incident with Justin Hamilton. We're going to get into that a little bit later. And Chad Little, not Jesse Little.
Chad Little, like
I don't know. I was thinking of Chad Little, but yeah, they're related. Jesse Little finished 10th. Career best finished first top 10 after starting 14th, and at least it's nice to see JD Motorsports get a top 10. That overtime kind of killed the hype.
Some of them, yeah. BJ and Vargas were up there, and but there was other random guys behind them, which was interesting. Like 11th, Dexter Bean.
Yeah, career best finish.
You had other people like Kyle Wetterman got a top 15 for Mike Harmon.
Ryan Vargas finished 13th, his best career finish as well.
Yep.
Kyle Weatherman, who got his career best finish at 15th, has delivered Mike Harmon's team for the 3rd time a career best finish. 15th happened 2 different times, actually. It was Nick Hamann at Road America, I think it was last year, and then Joe Nemechek this year in the Daytona 300.
Yeah, but we have this. Usually we expect a road course racer. Road courses, it's kind of maybe. Daytona is kind of expected, but Pocono, I'm like, at one point, Kyle Wetterman was battling Timmy Hill for a top 10 at one point. I remember
Well, what does that require? A big one. We had it.
Yeah, exactly.
And here are some of the drivers that took some hits after that record. Noah Gragson finished 22nd from the pole. It led 8 laps. Austin Cindric, and man, that stings if you're Austin Cindric.
Yeah, that was hard.
29th place, led 11 laps, won stage 1. There's an idiot calling me on Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weird.
I don't mean to call anyone out on Discord. I just had to quit Discord on Windows.
Also, Daniel Hemrick. Daniel Hemrick got into that big one in the 8 car.
That sucked.
Yeah.
Oh, that was horrible.
Yep, I remember Daniel Hemrick. Also, Josh Williams crashed on lap number. It was early in the race. He crashed.
The same thing with Harrison Burton.
Oh yeah, lap 14. Harrison Burton spun after Brendan Brown.
It honestly felt like forever. We couldn't get get a lap in without wrecking.
Do you want to know what's so funny? Guess what? I figured out why the oil was down on lap number 7 laps before. Lap 7, Brendan Brown's oil cooler broke. under caution and leaked all over turn 1.
And that's what. Wait, that's what caused it.
That's what
That's what
caused.
caused it because of spins.
Yeah, that's why we saw Harrison Burn and Alex LeBay spin off turn number 1. The oil was there.
And they had to clean that up.
Yeah, they took a while just to clean that up. I remember when I saw Harrison's crash. That was a hard impact to the inside wall. And then I remember watching the final lap of stage 1 with Cindric Lee. I'm like, I just see smoke, and then you see LeBay sliding to the inside wall. I'm like, there must be oil in that corner if 2 cars did the same thing. Brandon Jones crashed on the first lap after. Yeah, he crashed.
We're going to get in the truck race a little bit. So,
Brandon
hey,
Jones-
how's it going?
Brandon Jones
Donovan
crashed.
Martinez. Nice to see everyone had a good weekend.
Brandon
Your live chat, go ahead, ask questions.
Yeah. Brandon Jones.
Soul vibes. Yeah.
Like Brandon
Hello.
Jones.
That's Danny.
Like, I guess that Brandon Jones.
Herbie Solomon, how's it going, man?
People said that Brandon Jones did that on purpose, spinning himself out. I'm like, that's not. He did wreck on purpose. He got loose.
Hey, sometimes you don't have to listen to lunatics on social media.
But-
Maybe
but-
that's
Yeah,
a nice
exactly.
Yeah, like he literally got loose, and then Cindric got into him a little bit, and that. I'm glad Brandon Jones was okay after that wreck, because that was also a hard impact to the inside wall.
Yeah, that was bad. I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah, so the standings look like this after 12 races. Chase Briscoe has 499 points so far, pulling away from Noah Gragson, who took a big hit
But
in the championship.
But Gregson's still only 3 back. It's only 3 points still.
Right, but he could have walked away. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Let's see down there. Ross Chastain, another gain in the points. 466 now. That's minus 33. Austin Cindric, he did win the stage, which helped him, but that doesn't replace retiring
Yeah.
and a 29th place finish. No, that's 4th minus 46. Harrison Burton, who had a terrible crash. Luckily, he was able to get out under his own power there. 5th in the points. Justin Haley, 6th minus 98. Justin Allgaier minus 113. Slight gain. Yeah, still 7th. Not quite his standards, but better than what we saw at Homestead.
Yeah.
way
And
better.
especially Talladega. Brandon Jones, Michael Annett, Ryan Sieg, top 10. As for the playoffs, there's 12 seeds, so Riley Herbst would be minus 205 from the leader, and Mike Snyder would be the final seed, minus 241. Now, he might be affected by a change that RSS Racing has exhibited, which they've given their 93 team to the Rayom Brothers team, a team owned by Josh Rayom. They actually field trucks. They're kind of field fillers in the back, but they've grown in recent years, slowly but surely. They are acquiring one of RSS Racing's starting park
Hey,
entries.
Joseph, more breaking news about that. The 39 at the 93 will be managed by Rayom's team. The 38's going to cease operations. The 38
Oh,
team.
wow.
So Myatt Snyder, when Myatt's in the 21 car, Jeff will be in the 93. So Myatt Snyder, Jeff Green are split in the 93 team.
But
The
is this
30
under Josh Rayom's team?
Yeah, the 93 is under Rayom Brothers. The 39 is under RSS. But the 38, they're shutting that 38 team down, I guess. That's what RSS announced today. Which, that is interesting. When I was looking, I'm just looking through Twitter, and it says that the 38 is going to cease operations. Keeping the 39 still there. While the 93 is going to be managed by Rayom's team.
Oh, wow.
That is interesting.
Yeah, now this, of course, I feel like the pandemic has something behind it, but we all know that these are trying times.
Yeah.
However, Ryan Sieg's team is all fielded by himself, and there is a primary candidate to go for a championship, and that's the driver himself, number 39, Ryan Sieg, going for this championship here. And this is where I feel like the decision was right. I mean, listen, he already made the right decision. I said this many times before because people always criticize the act of start and park, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
he had to start and park. to keep
Yeah.
that 39 on the racetrack with
Yeah.
the other cars
Yeah.
contending for wins.
Like you know that when Mike Snyder drove, he didn't start park.
No, he has sponsorship.
Guess who started and parked at Pocono? Jeff Green started and parked the 93 car. That's one thing. Then they don't have money. Like RSS is tight on money and stuff. Like people say, oh well, they're not that tight on money. No, do you know? When Ryan sees good performance at Las Vegas. Guess how old
Yeah.
that he had Austin Dillon's body from his 33 car in 2015 when he won at Vegas. 5 years old. He had that on his car. It's an older body, so that they're using old
Ryan
chassis.
Sieg finished third with that car.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's doing. He has to do that, and also people are criticizing that Rayom Brothers sucks. I
They
know
don't suck, first and
don't-
foremost. They're underfunded.
yeah, but
Exactly.
also a good thing about Josh Rayom, he knows Josh Rayom has ran for the team before. He's engineered for the team, so he knows how to.
And
do
they've
that.
worked together. Josh
Yeah.
Rayom and Ryan Sieg have been off-track friends. They
Yeah.
do business together. It's going to work slowly but
Yeah.
surely. And I feel like RSS Racing will
Yeah.
be fielding more than one entries, whether it's start and park or full race.
Yeah,
I feel like that's going to happen again when the
Yeah.
money comes. And obviously, 2020, they are not
Yeah.
the only team exhibiting financial issues.
yeah.
So I don't think they should worry too much.
Yeah, like there's other teams like Morgan Shepherd. They're losing money right now. That 89 team, they're still looking for sponsors, and there's no luck with them. Like there's so many cars. Like you saw the RSS, not the 93. They have to field it with Rayom Brothers Racing. Like there's so many different things
Right.
plaguing teams. Like remember, Scuba Life, that
Yes.
company. Ray Black Jr. had to give up driving to help the company. That's why there's Rick Ware drivers driving the 07. Because
Right. Without a sponsor, there'd be no team.
So he's basically helping Scuba Life right now. That's why he's not driving. Same thing. Remember David Starr,
Yes.
who drove the Whataburger car? Whataburger, he had no money, no sponsorship. So that's why BJ.
I think they're
was
going
out.
through financial struggles as well.
Yeah, I heard about Whataburger. That they're not sponsoring right now because of the money, and that's why David Starr's not on a ride right now.
Right. Let's go ahead and see what's now in the truck series. Obviously, we had a truck race, which was their sixth race of the season. Now, boy, that was a very, very interesting finish. I think everybody who woke up at 9 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you what, man. Me waking up at 9 in the morning, I was like, it was all
After Supercars race.
and everything. Yeah, exactly. We get to that in a moment, but me waking up at 9 in the morning to catch this race, honestly, I think it was worth it. It really was worth it.
Like I thought it was just
because it was a very entertaining finish, man.
Yeah, that even
though, and on top, even though we saw the same thing happen, like in Xfinity, we couldn't get a lap in without wreck, but
that
was unfortunate. But damn, man, that race was worth it.
Yeah, that finish was so good that. But also the thing about that Xfinity race, there was things that were that truck race. I know it was quite early for people, especially people in California, because for them that was the race started at 6:30 a.m. for them.
Typically NASCAR is one to accommodate them for race times. We're getting Cup races at 3 o'clock,
but
more than ever.
But they couldn't. They had to do the Xfinity at 12:30.
I'm glad they did. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. So that that weekend, do you want to know how bad? People are wondering what was the average run for green flag laps? 3.1 laps. 48% of the race was under caution, and it's only 60 laps. I'm like, come on, stop learning from ARCA drivers, keep driving. And then,
ARCA drivers did better doing 200 miles compared to this truck race, though it's the shortest race of the year, 150 miles, uh, only 60 laps.
yeah,
Let's let's see the results here. So Brandon Jones
yeah,
won the race. He led 11 laps.
his
First
first,
career win at last.
yeah,
Started 10th
yeah,
and delivered another victory for Kyle Busch Motorsports at this racetrack. Austin Hill, the points leader,
a second.
yeah, he finished second, started third. Sheldon Creed won both stages, stage 1 and stage 2, led 31 laps, finished third.
He was close. He was so close in this truck. But
Okay.
yeah, he was so close, but Brandon Jones just got a better run through the tunnel turn to clear him, and then Austin Hill passed him for second. But
Yeah, that was.
yeah, so Sheldon Creed's gonna get a win soon at one point. I feel like he's gonna win at one point.
Patience is a virtue,
Well,
brother.
Yeah,
it is, and he'll get it one way or another. And hopefully, that Eldora race is on the schedule. He would be scrutinized if he didn't win. Let's see, Todd Gill in fourth place, good run for the Front Row Motorsports team.
yep.
Ben Rhodes fifth. Ross Chastain led the single lap, started 16th, finished 6th. Brett Moffitt, Stuart Friesen,
Oh, yeah,
Tyler
they were-
Ankrum, and Derek Kraus.
Yep.
Nice to see Stuart Friesen finally picking things back up again.
Yeah.
And here are some of the notables, including Grant Enfinger, dropped to third in points, 11th. Zane Smith led 7 laps, started 7th, finished 14th. Christian Eckes, this was heartbreaking if you saw this. It was the second to last caution. Finished 33rd, led 10 laps, and retired.
After he was leading, it's basically the same thing as Chase Briscoe, but this time when he spun as the leader, he hit the wall, the rear and the front, which destroyed the truck.
Matt Crafton took a good punch. First lap wrecked, finished 40th, out of the race.
Yeah.
It's not been a good season for Matt Crafton.
It's like Kyle Busch in the Cup Series. It's very difficult to defend that championship sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. Austin Hill. Oh, what were you saying, Justin?
I was
ahead.
saying about the people saying about, oh, these drivers can't drive. There were so many different things. Like the lap 1 crash, that was Austin Wayne Self was there, and Cody Robog came down on him, and he spun in the Crafton. Then people called Lassard stupid for clipping the grass. The reason
He had to avoid a slow truck.
yeah, you had Chase Purdy and Derek Kraus almost crashing in front of him. He clips the grass in the Austin Wayne Self. Brendan Poole hit the wall at one point. Tate Fogelman got dumped by Tanner Gray in turn 3. Like, turn 3 was people thought turn 1 was bad. Turn 3 was the worst place for the truck drivers. Turn 3 was so bad. Oh yeah, Ty Majeski crashed early. Granted,
He took a horrible hit.
he didn't clear Grant Enfinger, and he came back on the track.
Yeah,
Everybody avoided him. That was close to be contact when Majeski slid back up the track, and I'm glad nobody hit him.
Yeah. That was a very, very unfortunate incident what happened with Ty Majeski.
Yep.
And glad he's okay, and it's on to the next one.
Yep.
All right, as for our standings, Austin Hill still has the points lead. I think it's 47 over Ben Rhodes. Actually, let me see. It's not 47 points. That is 51 points
Yeah.
for Ben Rhodes. 61 points over Grant Enfinger. Sheldon Creed is 4th, minus 64 from the leader. Todd Gill in 5th, minus 66. Christian Eckes is 6th place. He's claimed 179 so far over Zane Smith, a very impressive rookie, 7th place minus 76. Tyler Ankrum and Brett Moffitt, GMS Racing teammates, 8th and 9th. And Johnny Sauter is 10th with 168 points so far. So looking at the playoffs, which is supposed to start sometime soon, depending on what NASCAR announces for the future.
We don't know. They said
there is 19 supposed races.
NASCAR said they're gonna announce more races after. They're gonna announce more races that are after New Hampshire some point in July.
Right.
So wait for that until July. So.
Right, but as it stands now, Derek Kraus is 11th, minus 94 from the leader. And Stuart Friesen jumped to 12th. Tanner Gray, but Matt Crafton took the biggest hit. He's down to 14th.
Jeez.
Minus 116 minus the leader. So that's just
very
unfortunate for the 3-time champion.
Yeah.
Wow.
So with that, their next race will be Kentucky for round 7. Obviously, no racing in Indy. Xfinity Series will be racing the Indy Grand Prix, but obviously the Truck Series gets the week off, and they'll be back at the 1.5 mile at Kentucky, which always has been an exciting race for the series.
Yes, especially with the Cup Series. Last year, we want to talk about an unbelievable finish with Kyle Busch and Kurt Busch going at it for the win at the last lap.
Yeah, that was
You couldn't script that any better.
Exactly. You really couldn't script that any better.
Yeah, because the other races in Kentucky are other races are like 2016. The only interesting part of that 2016 Kentucky race, remember when Keselowski and Edwards 2016? Yes. Keselowski saved fuel and almost ran out, but somehow
ran out of gas. Everyone thought he was going to run out of gas.
And he somehow made it.
And Edwards, did Edwards run out of fuel?
Edwards was close.
Everyone thought Edwards was going to win the race. He was like, waiting for Keselowski to run out of fuel.
But Keselowski still made it to the line and won. And remember when Keselowski kind of broke the champagne bottle? And he cut
his hand. Yeah, cut his hand.
Yeah, he broke it. He smashed it a couple times for some reason because it wouldn't open. So that was totally
here's a little tip for you.
Care Center.
Yeah, here's a little tip for you if you have trouble opening the champagne bottle, just use a lighter under the bottle and let it heat up and it will pop open.
All right.
Don't do like Brett Keselowski.
No. Okay, so with that said, let's shift down to the Southern Hemisphere. For supercars, they are back. This was their 3rd week. Obviously, week 2 was canceled from March at Melbourne. Round 7, 8, 9 of their 25 race tour. Race 1 for the City Super Sprint was Scott McLaughlin, and there were 3 races, so let's get into race 1 here. Scott McLaughlin led 27 laps from the pole for his 45th career win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over Shane Van Gisbergen,
and
who
Jamie
led
Whincup.
4 laps and scored. Jamie Whincup, Van Gisbergen, 109th career podium, and for Whincup, that was his 240th.
Wow.
Yeah. And looking down the leaderboard, Chaz Mostert, 4th. Nick Percat finished 5th. Cam Waters, 6th. Lee Holdsworth, Anton DePasquale, 7th and 8th. 9th place was Frosty, Mark Winterbottom, and 10th place, Fabian Coulthard for the Shell V-Power DJR Team Penske Racing.
Yeah.
Dick Johnson, not David Gilliland.
No, David Gilliland's not part of that.
That is okay. Yeah. Speaking of Nick Percat, race 2, unbelievable.
Yep.
That was a complete upset against Jamie Whincup.
Yeah, I
was not expecting McLaughlin. I was not expecting Nick Percat to win this race. Although, what's his name? Whincup and McLaughlin. Although McLaughlin was in 3rd, right, and he had started in 5th.
Yeah.
And then he would have worked his way up to third. If there was a few more laps, he would have caught up to Percat and got the win anyways.
Oh yeah, race 2. Yeah, go on.
Also, do you know what was interesting about Percat and Whincup? Percat took 3 tires. There's a thing about how many tires you can change. Whincup took 2. Percat changed 3 tires, so he had 3 fresher tires. I don't know.
Why 3 tires?
I guess you're allowed to do that.
What's behind that?
I don't know.
What is behind that?
I guess you can even change 1 tire. I don't know what.
Maybe rules are different over there.
Yeah, because of 3 tires. When I heard
I know that happens in sports car racing sometimes because they take 1 tire at a time in the pit stop.
But I remember
we would never see that here in NASCAR.
I remember when I heard the commentator saying, "Oh, the Percat's taking 3 tires." I'm like, 3 tires? I'm like, what is this pit stop?
I mean, we're talking about race 2, right?
Yeah, we are talking about race 2.
Percat, by the way, he's only scored 3 wins in his career and led 11 laps in that race to do so. But his other 2 wins, the first victory he had was probably the biggest of his career when Percat and Tanner, as a driver combination, won the 2011 Bathurst 1000 when hard-charging Craig Lowndes was right there to take that spot and take another win. Nope. Was beat by Garth Tander, and the co-driver was Nick Percat. And his second career win didn't come until 2016 for race 3 at the Clipsal 500 at Adelaide.
Yeah.
And now his third career win is race 2 for the Sydney Super Sprint in 2020.
Yeah, so it's really been a very long time now.
Oh, yeah. And I'm so glad to see Brad Jones Racing back in victory lane. But, I'm a Supercars fan, but one of my favorite drivers is Jamie Whincup. And he finished second in that after leading 18 laps. I was hoping he'd get a win before his 500 career start, but, it's what it is. Scott McLaughlin finished third. So for Whincup, it was his 241st career podium, and McLaughlin's 89th career podium. And then Chaz Mostert, David Reynolds, Cam Waters, Shane Van Gisbergen, Mark Winterbottom, James Courtney, and Andre Heimgartner were the top 10. 12th place was Anton DePasquale, who led 2 laps, and Jack LeBrock finished 14th after leading a single lap. And race 3 was just another one of those Scott McLaughlin cases of domination.
You damn right.
27 lap sled. He started on pole. 46 career win.
He's well on his way to the top, man.
You see that third title?
Yep.
I think I do as well. Lee Holdsworth finished second, driving for Tickford Racing after leading 3 laps. And as for Holdsworth, career podium number 18. Jamie Whincup finished third in his 500th career start. A monumental record in touring car racing and in supercars history. And Whincup scored his 242nd podium of all time. David Reynolds, once again, finished outside the podium. 4th. Mark Winterbottom, 5th. Very solid weekend for Mark Winterbottom.
Yeah.
Shane Van Gisbergen, 6th. Anton DePasquale, 7th. It's a good run for the Eurobus team.
Yeah.
Todd Hazelwood led 2 laps and finished 8th, driving for Brad Jones Racing in his Holden. Nick Percat, 9th, and Bryce Fullwood, 10th.
Yep.
We didn't see much from Walkinshaw Andretti United except for Chaz Mostert's 2 4th-place finishes in race 1 and race 2. But the thing is, they're still getting new to each other. Obviously, a pandemic the spring kills the progress a little bit, but I don't know.
And also, interesting about people wondering, people see that McLaughlin, he's leading the standings, but people are like, why is Penske, the Shell V-Power team, not in the team standings? Well, you gotta see race 3. Fabian Coulthard DNF'd.
Yeah, last place.
So that's why
they ran out of fuel.
Yeah, he ran out of fuel on lap 31 of 32. 1 lap to go. It was so basically that's one reason that the Red Bull Holden team is leading, because both their drivers, Van Gisbergen and Whincup, ended up finishing the race. That's how they're
yeah. That's another thing too. But let's go real quick into the Drivers' Championship. Scott McLaughlin is out front with 574 points claimed so far, and then behind him is Jamie Whincup, 525 points, so that's minus 49. Chaz Mostert is third, minus 142. Cam Waters, fourth, minus 163. David Reynolds is fifth with 392 points claimed, minus 182 from the leader. As for the team's championship, as you mentioned, 602 points claimed is the leader. Actually, no.
What?
I don't know what.
What? The team standings?
Oh, yeah. 878. I was reading off the list.
Yeah.
Triple Eight Race Engineering.
Yeah, they're over the
or DJR team. Yeah, 28. That's about
50.
Yeah, 50 points. Exactly.
Yeah. That's the thing.
Tickford 23 Red. Yeah, I know 23 Red Racing did shut down, but as you know, the team's championship requires 2 cars to count as one team.
Like, there's one of them, it's Monster Energy and Super Cheap, which is the 6 and 55. Like, you know, and also there's the other car, which I don't know who's the other Tickford, 2 other cars.
Oh yeah, Tickford. The main Tickford racing team is the 6 and the 55.
Yeah, they have their own, which is Monster Energy, Super Cheap.
Yeah, and that's Waters and
LeBrock.
Yeah, LeBrock.
Yeah, and there's just so many other cars.
James Courtney's the 44. So yeah, Tickford's class 23 Red is third with 746. Obviously, that used to be Alex Davison's right, but it was what's his name? Will Davison.
Yeah. And do you know what's so interesting that I've actually realized while reading the team?
James Courtney's in the 44 now.
Yeah. I remember just reading through it. I'm like, oh, it's so interesting. There's one of the team championships, which is Irwin Racing and DeWalt Racing, the number 18 and 20 cars, which is kind of interesting. It's the same thing with the Castrol and Ned Racing, which is the 15 and the 7.
Yeah, Kelly Racing.
Yeah, they have.
This is Kelly Racing's first year with Ford, as Nissan left the series last year. Let me see down the list here. Tickford Racing, the main team, is 4th. Waukesha and Andretti United, 5th, 654 points claimed. Then looking down the list, Brad Jones Racing jumped to 6th. Erebus Motorsports, usually they're a little higher than 7th. Charles Schwargold Racing 8th. Kelly Racing 9th. Tim Blanchard / Brad Jones Racing, I guess they're in their one slot, 10th. Matt Stone Racing, and obviously Team Sydney. Some of the teams had financial struggles, but there are many talks about what's to come. Obviously, in the next race is Winton, which is the Winton Super Sprint will be on July 18th to 19th for rounds 10, 11, and 12. That's week 4. So they have some time off to think about what's going on in their series, but they seemed established. However, Holden is gone next year, whether we like it or not. It's sad, but Australia's premier manufacturer is going. GM made the call. So
yeah, it's very unfortunate.
What happens next? I mean, I'm sure we're going to still see Holden on the track next year, but not on the top teams that have to use factory support.
Yeah. I'm hoping, and a lot of people are saying What other manufacturer is gonna join the sanctioning series?
Yeah, but
And a lot of people have been saying to me it's gonna be either BMW or Chevy.
Chevy would be an easy PR move. If you drive for Holden, you obviously have to run in the GM. You have to wear GM merchandise. Probably drive a Chevy or a Holden at home.
Yeah.
It's like wearing. It's like being sponsored by Nike and wearing Adidas shoes.
Yeah.
That's not
exactly
like you have to wear Nike shoes wherever you go if you're sponsored by Nike. But the thing is, it would be an easy transition for many of the Holden teams. But as for the big factory teams like 888 Race Engineering, now I could reiterate here that their GT3 program uses Mercedes AMG GT3, but they ran in supercars with Eurobus 2013, 2014 before they pulled out of factory support. They ran in 2015, but no factory support. Is there a possibility that we'll see AMG coming back to supercars? I mean, I was watching my Discord chat, and they were talking about like 888 and Mercedes for 2021. But I'm still shaking my head.
Dang, man.
Well, with that said, we had sports car racing at the Nürburgring for the first VLN race of the year. It's now called the NLS. The NLS series. So the first race was finally on June 27th, and I'm surprised to see 141 cars overall take the green flag. But here's the catch. Over 75% of the teams are based in Germany, right around the corner from the track.
Yep.
What kind of sign is this for the 2020 Nürburgring 24 hours?
I don't know. The thing is, in the Nürburgring 24 hours, we always see a lot of entries, but we also see different different teams from different countries. That's the thing. It depends the travel restrictions and stuff like that, because you don't know you don't know how it's gonna be in September, but you never know. Some countries, people don't behave right and they don't respect anything.
Oh boy, just look at Florida.
Yeah, those places, like, people are like, we don't care. People think it's a hoax and all that, which they're not taking it seriously. And then there's more cases spiking every day, that does not help. Like, it's just the teams, they have to make sure that the travel restrictions in their country is not bad, and everybody has to make sure they have no symptoms and stuff like that.
Right, but there's a catch here. The track ran a unique pit road. They had a very interesting method where, organized by cones, the cars would enter a certain garage stall, one of the first garage stalls, and they would literally slalom through where other pit stalls were located in order to enhance social distancing measures.
Oh, yeah.
And usually, obviously, you would go down a straight line, but you would take a right turn and just follow the cones and the arrows.
Yeah. Yeah, you would do that because
there were a lot of people who didn't like it, however. I mean, it's complicated for a driver.
Yeah.
You know? Having to follow all those directions just to pit after racing one of the toughest tracks in the world, it's a pretty tall order.
Yeah, and also people people are remember that do you want to know what's annoying sometimes about some of these things going on in any motorsports? People are complaining of some of the start times. Like, the Brickyard 400's at 4 o'clock. People are like, why is it at 4? I told them the screening process, 5 to 7 hours to do everything. But people say that there should not be any screening. I'm like, not any screening. I'm like, what are you on?
A lot of
Like,
people don't have brains on social media. In fact,
no, even
I
people.
feel like I'm smarter than the world.
But like, you have to, like, the thing is, they have to check the driver's temperature and see and ask them, do you have this, that? Have you?
I mean, look at the MLS. There were over 25 soccer players in North America, and they got a tournament around the corner.
Yeah. Like in my area, like for some people, like it depends. For me, it's kind of bad still. The only thing is, we're not in the green section. There's red, orange, yellow. We're literally in the yellow phase. Because the cases are now going up. We've been getting, there's more people recovering right now, which is actually a good thing. Because there's also some places have a lot of people getting, their lives get claimed by the coronavirus. My area only had 2 elderly people, but it's like people are taking it seriously. Not like certain areas, they don't take it seriously.
Unfortunately, what happens in Florida stays in Florida.
Well,
and a lot of the people there.
Well, do you know what happened at Kentucky? There was a party. There was a person that that did a huge party in Kentucky. All of them got COVID-19 because they decided to throw a party because they said it was fake. I'm like, are you that dumb? Because these people in Kentucky, all those people before they got COVID and stuff, do you know what their reasoning? The government invented it. I'm like, the government did not create this. It's a real thing going on, and then they got COVID. That is, people are kind of like, yeah, just respect the guidelines, basically. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, so let's just get into what happened at the NERB. There was 4 hours, and I'm not going to go through every class because it's not a 24-hour race, and there was 140 of them, 20 different classes. But as for the main class, which is FIA GT3 Standards, which is called the SP9 class, Pro class. There's SP9 Pro Am, Pro, and Am over there. But as for the top 5, it was the number 34 Walking Horse Sport BMW. Now, they did not cross the line first, and I'm going to get into that later. The second place was the number 6 Haupt Racing Team, or known as HRT Mercedes AMG. They bought the Black Falcon.
Oh,
team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still around, but they scaled back from full-out factory GT3 racing. The third place driver was the number 2 Get Speed Mercedes AMG. Fourth place was the number 32 Car Collection Motorsport Audi, and fifth place was the number 99 Row Racing BMW. Their next race is another event, obviously at the Nürburgring. VLN2 will be a 4-hour race for round 2 of an 8-race tour. I'm trying to see when VLN2 is. I know. 2020. I think VLN2 is on July 15th. I'm just guessing. I know it's not July 15th.
Do you want to know what's so funny? I
have it. It's July 11th.
Do you want to know what's so funny? I just saw this. Somebody posted Denny Hamlin has beaten Mark Martin with no championships because of, he has, Denny Hamlin has 41 wins. Do you want to know what somebody said? Dale Jr. is better than Denny. I'm like, Dale Jr. has 26 wins.
What?
And Denny Hamlin has 41. He says 41 wins is less than 24.
Just because you don't like a driver doesn't mean your driver is better than him.
Exactly.
But like 41 wins for Hamlin. Somebody says that 26 wins for Dale Jr. is better than 41 wins. I'm like, what is your math?
The immaturity is unreal. The immaturity is unreal.
Its phone number, and they'll be great friends.
Like I'm literally.
The immaturity
one of the worst YouTubers
is real.
People are just
Listen, I know, but we don't have to focus on them because we're
Reddit.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
not Reddit. We're always in media.
Yeah, we're not looking. We're not saying random facts.
We're not saying give me attention because I have a stupid claim. Yeah, that's beneath us. Okay. Others category, we had two ARCA races. The ARCA Menard Series, the National Series, raced at Pocono for 4 of 16. Ty Gibbs won the race over Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Brett Holmes, Michael Self, and Michael Self is still the points leader over Drew Dollar, Haley Deegan, Brett Holmes, and Tad Moffitt. They'll be racing again at the Indianapolis Raceway Park, also called Lucas Oil Raceway, on Friday night for round 5 of 16.
Yep, and
ARCA West had 2 races from the Utah Motorsports Complex, which is a road course in Tooele, Utah, for rounds 2 and 3 of their 9-race calendar. Race 1, Jesse Love won the race over Chris Wright. Jesse Love led 23 laps. Finishing third was Gio Scelzi. Taylor Gray, fourth. The younger brother of Truck Series driver Tanner Gray, who also is in the DGR Crosley racing program.
Yep.
Will Rogers, who is from Hawaii, finished 5th. And Will Rogers is a very good West Coast road course racer. And Blaine Perkins finished 11th after leading 8 laps. He had an error, which put him out of contention.
Yep.
Race 2, Blaine Perkins had a perfect race, led all 30 laps over Jesse Love, Chris Wright, Gio Scelzi, and Trevor Huddleston.
Yep.
The standings, Jesse Love is the points leader. He has 133 points over Perkins with 124. Gio Scelzi is 5th with 115 points. Gracie Trotter 4th, 114 points. And Todd Souza, who was in his late 50s, racing Latin American driver, has 112 points claimed so far, and he's been a regular in the West Series for years. So I'm glad to see him still out there doing fairly well. They'll be racing on July 4th at Irwindale, one of my favorite West Coast tracks, for round 4.
This Saturday. Yeah, Saturday night racing.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
so
be
now
one hell of a good time.
Yeah. No matter the race length. So let's get into what we have upcoming this weekend.
Oh, jeez.
NASCAR Cup Series for
the Brickyard
for round 16, the Brickyard 400. As for the Xfinity Series, the inaugural Indy Grand Prix, round 13 of 31. The IndyCar has their Indy Grand Prix, the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis, for race 2 of their 14-round calendar. And Formula One is back. I'm so excited to say that.
The Austrian Grand Prix.
Yes, at the Red Bull Ring in Spielberg, Austria, for race 1 of currently 8 races confirmed. And as for sports car racing, we do have a sprint race. IMSA is back.
The WeatherTech 240 at Daytona on July 4th.
Yeah.
Yep, round 2. So for the people who've lost after not having NASCAR at Daytona on the 4th of July 2020, this could somewhat make up for it, especially during the current times when fans are allowed in attendance, despite the madness of the virus in Florida.
Well, it's only 5,000, and it's only residents.
Daytona is very spread out too.
Yes, it's not like a short track or like. No, it's not that.
Speedway.
No, there's enough grandstands. Hopefully.
The
grandstands. Yeah, it's not like some tracks where just there's not much grandstands here at You look at Daytona, the huge grandstands there.
All right, but let's get into the Brickyard 400 as for the race round 16 of the NASCAR Cup Series Tour 2020. Last year, Kevin Harvick took the win. The first race was one of the most anticipated races in NASCAR history back in 1994, and Jeff Gordon won that event. In his second career win, it was pretty much a local boy, and it was like a Cinderella story at the time. No one believed it could have happened. I mean, it was crazy enough that someone would get the first win of the Coca-Cola 600, but this was just miles of impression. By the way, one of my friends and sim racing teammates is here. Herbert Solomon is on. I'm just gonna add him to the stream. How's it going, man?
Hey, man, how you doing? How you doing, Joe? How you doing, Justin? And Danny? Thanks, man. So what are you guys talking about?
Brickyard 400 at Indy.
Great race, man. It's gonna be a good race. Aren't they doing a doubleheader with IndyCar, right?
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a moment here. Jeff Gordon won the first race. He has the most wins with 5 over Jimmy Johnson with 4. Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart, Kyle Busch, and Kevin Harvick share 2 wins apiece. As for team victories, Hendrick Motorsports, 10 victories over Joe Gibbs Racing with 5. Richard Childress Racing with 3. And Robert Yates Racing, Stuart Haas Racing have 2 wins as well. For manufacturers, Chevy dominates that list with 17 wins. Ford with 5. Toyota with 2. And 2 non-present manufacturers, Dodge and Pontiac with 1 win apiece there. So there are your stats. Let's hear your predictions, all your predictions for the Brickyard 400 on Sunday.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Jimmy sounds like – go ahead, Justin.
Oh, my pick. This driver, he's won the Brickyard 400 once. And it was quite recently, but it was – this driver, he drives for Team Penske. Brad Keselowski wins the Brickyard 400.
I got to go with Hendrick here. Bowman, because, he does pretty good on speedways. So in Indianapolis, or even Chase Elliott. And then even Jimmy Johnson's in the list because he's won it, 4 times you said, Joe?
Yes.
He's even in the mix. He needs a win.
I'm going to have to go with the old Joe Gibbs, man. Kyle Busch, he's getting his 3rd win at the Brickyard.
You're not wrong with that because I think Kyle Busch is going to win that race as well. And why is that? Well, let's backtrack a little bit to when he faced adversity in 2017. Yes, it ended in a terrible crash, but it was none of his wrongdoing there. Mark Truex Jr. was just awfully loose when he made contact in the 2017 race. But you have to understand that Kyle Busch was walking off with this win before the wreck even happened, and he was winless heading into that. But what happened after that? He won finally at Pocono.
His last win was the Homestead race, so it would be he really needs this win. He's been having bad luck ever since.
Yeah, so there's that. I feel like we're going to see something that we haven't seen before. Everyone's gonna enjoy it. I just wish there were some fans in the stands. They had an opportunity. I still kind of scratch my head on why they weren't allowing fans, especially when you have the greatest amount of space in the world. 300,000 people, of course, for the Indy 500, and usually we get about 150,000 nowadays for the Brickyard 400. You could spread them out, but maybe we're going to see that for the Indy 500 though.
But 50% capacity. That's what they said. They announced it last weekend.
So that'd be 150,000.
Yeah, they're doing.
Is that for both Indy? Is that for both the IndyCar and NASCAR?
No, just for the Indy 500. That's on August 23rd.
Yeah, that's what Roger Penske announced for the Indy 500 in August.
But for this weekend here, of course, July 4th weekend for the Brickyard 400 being the main event, and the Indy Grand Prix sharing the same track for the weekend. There'll be no fans allowed. So let's just move on to the Xfinity Series. They'll be racing at the Indy Grand Prix circuit for the first time.
Yep.
So it's an inaugural race. But if you want to go back to the oval, Kyle Busch won that event in 2019.
Yeah.
But yeah, who's going to win the first ever race at the Indy Grand Prix track?
AJ Allmendinger. He's really good at road courses.
You beat me to it. I'm going with AJ.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to also go with AJ, but don't forget Austin Cindric. He's very good at road courses.
Okay.
True.
They have experience from sports cars.
Exactly.
Okay. My pick.
So that plays right into their hands.
My pick for the Indy Grand Prix weekend for the Xfinity Series. This driver. The thing about this driver, he did the same thing. He did this in 2018. He won the first race at the Roval. Chase Briscoe wins at the Indy Grand Prix. Because you saw.
Oh, Chase Briscoe.
Yeah, he won. I remember when he won that first race at the Roval, which was so interesting that I'm like, he's good on the road courses. He's run sports cars.
Yes,
he's
a factory driver for the Ford GT4 program.
Yeah, so I'm like, if he could just nail the corners right, he could get the win.
Yeah, definitely has a chance.
Yep.
Have they had a road course this year? I don't think they have yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah,
as for the Xfinity, this is the first time they're racing the Indy road course.
Yeah.
Yep. NASCAR, they shouldn't be too far behind it. The Cup Series.
There are talks about the Cup Series running that track as well. I think it's a good idea. I mean, of course, we've seen Formula One race. Let's disregard 2005's 2005 bust of a race because that was more of a tire problem of the 2005 US Grand Prix. But everything else surrounding that one race has been successful, and there was good turnout. And I think even F1 someday should get a second chance. But NASCAR in the Cup Series would work it. I mean, listen, they had their bust of a race in 2008 with the tire failures, but I think they should try coming back for the Brickyard 400, but having a separate race weekend for the Indy Grand Prix. That's just my idea for 2021. But you know, with the virus and everything that's going on, it's hard to put a wish list together.
And we don't know the schedule, like the full schedule. We don't know how it's going to look like yet.
Right. But
how many?
Go on.
How many times did they go to Charlotte? Was it like 2 or 3 times? Then the Roval?
Once and then the Roval.
This year they went a lot.
Yeah, they went.
Right. Well, they had their second race to make up for a lost date.
And they went. The All-Star race is not there anymore. Just for this year, that's at Bristol.
At Bristol.
In July. So, but they'll be probably back for the Roval in October, like when it's scheduled.
All right, let's shift gears with paddle shifters. Yes, I'm talking about IndyCar.
Yeah.
The Indy Grand Prix, the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis for race 2 of 14 will take place on Saturday on the 4th of July. Last year, Simon Pagenaud won the race back when it was part of the Indy 500 month, and I'm sure it will be next year when things are back to normal. He won the first race in 2014. Only 2 drivers have won in the entire Indy Grand Prix history, and that was that happened 3 times for Simon Pagenaud and Will Power.
And their teammates. So, except the first race was
Sam Schmidt Motorsports.
But other than that, it's been Penske. With Power,
5 wins.
It's Power Pagenaud, which is last year. Don't know what's interesting about last year. Last year, Dixon almost won until Pagenaud. Even though Pagenaud had no push to pass, he's still got to run and pass Dixon. I'm like,
where did driver worked in his favor?
Yeah, and he knows. Like he just know like Pagenaud and Power
he just knows how to work his way around, and I give him credit for that.
Yeah,
but
like I'm like, like I don't know how they're the only two drivers that figured out the Indy
And
Grand
on top of that, they race in the rain.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that gives them a big advantage over.
But you know what? Dixon is gonna get his redemption this year at the Indy Grand Prix.
And he'll break the Power Pagano streak.
Yes, thank you.
And Joe, how many laps are they running there this week's Indy?
Indy Grand Prix. I think it's about 72 laps.
Wait, for Xfinity is 62. The IndyCar is 85.
Oh, 85.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always been 85. You never noticed?
Well, obviously the cars are faster, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, true.
for Xfinity.
No, I
it's
haven't
only-
wanted to be.
Yeah. I don't even know who.
I was talking about the Xfinity series, but
I don't.
I mean, we already made our predictions for that, but if that's for the IndyCar GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis, I'm gonna go with this driver. I know he's better off on the ovals sometimes, more often than none. Alexander Rossi will win the GMR Grand Prix of Indianapolis.
I can't hear Joe. I'll be right back, Joe.
Okay. My pick, this driver, he currently drives for, this driver's not a rookie. He was a rookie last year. He drives in a Honda team.
Colton Herta.
Yep. Colton Herta.
I mean, he won a COTA.
Yeah, he won a COTA, and he won also Laguna Seca, which that was really good. But
That's a good race.
yeah, Colton Herta is my pick.
Yes. So I think we got everybody's pick, and you follow IndyCar, Herbert, or no?
Not really. I don't really know any of the drivers. That should be a shame, but I will go with the team. I'm gonna go with Penske.
They're
Mm.
You know, Penske's just like Penske's.
I mean, they own the track, literally.
Yeah,
I
they
just
literally
realized.
own that track. Yeah,
Yeah, Roger owns the track, and like it's so weird when I saw you
it
just
would
look.
be a shame if a Ganassi driver won there a lot more.
Don't be weird. I remember I was just looking through the Indy Grand Prix one time on. I'm like, oh, who's the winners? I'm like, okay, I see Pagano, and then I see it all Penske. I'm like, Power and Pagano. I was still confused. I'm like, they're the only ones that won at the track. Nobody
Yeah,
else.
true.
Change that, and I think it's Alexander Rossi.
Oh, sorry, boys. I'm gonna have to go with my man Dixon.
I don't know why I picked Colton Herta. I just don't know why. I felt like he might have some
He's
speed.
the ideal driver to beat these guys. All right, now let's before we get into sports, actually let's get into the main sports car race of the weekend, which is the IMSA WeatherTech Daytona 240, which is race 2 of 11. I need to find an entry list real quick because I know many teams have either pulled out or
It's on the IMSA website.
I don't know why I'm on YouTube right here. I don't want to go.
What
You can tell.
IMSA.
Hey, Joey,
What are you,
go ahead, Justin.
Joseph? It's on the IMSA website.
Yeah, no. I'm looking.
I know there's only.
I'm gonna
26
pull on my computer.
There's only.
I'm gonna start looking up some stats.
There's only 26 entries.
Oh, I found it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, 26 entries. So
So
I
many.
can pick out the ones who are obviously more better than none, but I'm trying to find it here. Okay, here we go. There are 8 drivers. Let me see here. Okay. I found the entry list finally. I found the PDF. It's right there. And I'll just give it to the rest of the chat because I know we've been a little bit behind on IMSA.
Well, I think I already know my picks already. Maybe I don't.
I do
know.
too. At least for the prototypes, and that's the number 6. Acura Team Penske DPI for the DPI and overall victory because you got Dan Cameron and Juan Montoya, two very skilled drivers. They're tough.
Wait, Juan Pablo?
Yeah, Juan Pablo Montoya.
Oh, that's my pick.
Wait, Joseph. Wait a minute, Joseph. You don't realize who else there is in the field. There's this duo that one of them has driven for this team before last year. This other driver is his first time driving for the team because the team last year had someone leave to go to Corvette. Wayne Taylor Racing is gonna win with Ranger Van der Zande and Ryan Briscoe.
Yes, they won the 24-hour race.
Yeah, and they remember how they rebounded from when they got that penalty late in the race, and they rebounded from a lap to be winning the race, which that was just impressive.
This is not 24 hours here. This is just 2 hours and 40 minutes.
But they're still fast at Daytona. You never want to count them out at Daytona. They're so fast.
All right. As for the GTLM class, which is basically for GTE cars, there's a very short turnout, unfortunately, but we have 6 cars, 2 Corvettes, 2 BMWs, 2 Porsches, all factory teams. Who's going to win in that category?
What category was that again?
GTLM. I don't know if you guys have the entry list.
I know what it is. Okay. My pick for GTLM. This car has been the victory lane at Daytona before, but that was the 24 hours. But I feel like the number 25 BMW is gonna win in GTLM.
As much as I think Corvette, has an edge here with 2 great pairs of veteran drivers and 2 new cars. Remember, the Corvette C8R does not have that much experience. They were supposed to have more track time in other races, but obviously wiped out with the virus. So it's hard to tell where they stand, especially after a bit of a frustrating 24 hours at Daytona. I'm going to go with experience here. The number 911 Porsche GT team, the Porsche 911 RSR GTE, Nick Taney, Fred Makovicky, probably the best duo in sports car racing in the last 5 years.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm trying to get some lights on.
Daniel Ford, you there?
I don't know where he is.
I think he took off. We'll get back to him. Oh, there he is. Mic's off. There we go.
Yeah, sorry about that. What was your question?
Who's your GTLM pick for Daytona on Saturday?
I'm really not sure, honestly.
Just 6 cars, two Porsches, 2 BMWs, 2 Corvettes.
I'll have to go with Porsche, man.
As much as I'm a fan of Corvette, I'm sorry. I feel like Porsche's more up to date, even if they have to pull out due to financial reasons.
Yeah.
In the short term, for the long term benefit, they're still fielding 2 cars at Daytona. So I'm gonna go with
the way they ride. Well, I would assume off the way they ride, they probably ride a little bit better than the Vets and the BMWs. So I'm gonna maybe even go with Porsche. Change my pick to Porsche.
All right, and the last class is the GT3 category, called the GT Daytona class. GTD has the most amount of cars in the category here. So compared to 8 entries in the DPI, 6 entries in the GTLM, and LMP2 sitting out altogether, we have 12 GT Daytona cars. Which GT3 will win on Saturday? And I'm still scratching my head. But there's one entry that I feel really comfortable with, and that pick is the number 14 AIM Vasser Sullivan Racing Lexus RCF GT3. of Aaron Telitz and Jack Hawksworth. Justin?
Okay. My pick. This team, they're Mercedes. That's their manufacturer, Mercedes. The number 74, Riley Motorsports Mercedes.
You're going with them?
You know what? I'm going to go with, the only Lamborghini I see in the field here. GRT, I can't even say it right. Sorry about that. GRT Magnus with Andy Lally and John Potter. I'm going to go with them. The only Lamborghinis in the field. You got to go with them.
Yeah, and they were pretty good at Daytona earlier this year.
They were.
See if Daniel's around to make his prediction for the GT Daytona class, if he's still there or not. Usually gives like a 5-second delay till you see the mute button turn off, and then he starts talking. All right.
Danny Danico?
No, that's Daniel Ford. We'll have Danica Matthew in this call, in this stream sooner or later. Okay, I guess we're just gonna move on to the race I am very excited for. Well, everyone's talking about an Indy, and obviously the 4th of July race at Daytona. Kind of
our races this week, man.
Oh yeah, on NR 2003. Yes, if you're not familiar, I race with Herbert Solomon on NR 2003 on the weekends. But as for this, I'm finally glad to say Formula One is back. The Austrian Grand Prix in Spielberg at the Red Bull Ring will kick off a currently 8-race championship. Obviously, there are more races yet to be confirmed or canceled, but it sits at 8 races for now. Round 1 is Sunday at the Red Bull Ring.
Yep.
Yeah, the entry list for that Sunday on.
Yeah, go on. Just look up 2020 Formula One on Wikipedia. It'll show up.
Hang on a moment.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I had to step out and do something for a minute.
Hey, what's your GT3 pick for Saturday's Daytona IMSA race?
GT8?
Yeah. Who is it?
Maya Shank.
Maya Shank. Okay, Acura. All right. As for the Austrian Grand Prix, last year Max Verstappen won the race. The first race, and I'm only going with championship counting races from 1950 present, was 1964. Lorenzo Bandini won in a Ferrari in the first race.
But people don't realize where it was. It was not at the circuit we know of right now. It was at Zeltweg Air Base, which was literally across the road, which that race was not the best, I heard. That's why they didn't race there anymore after 1964.
And a very eerie layout too. Kind of looks like Monza, but it looks like a hockey stick upside down.
And they raced on the concrete slabs from the runway, which after a while it would break up and cars would crash, and that's the reason why they don't race there anymore.
Right, but they've been at the Australia Ring, also known as the Red Bull Ring, since 1970, and here are the drivers with the most victories. As I said, I'm only counting official Grand Prix championship races. So Alain Prost, the Frenchman, with 3 over. These drivers all have 2. Ronnie Peterson, Alan Jones, Mika Hakkinen, Michael Schumacher, Nico Rosberg, and Max Verstappen. They all have 2 wins underneath Prost, who has 3. As for constructors, McLaren owns that list with 6 wins. Ferrari with 5. Lotus with 4, as well as Mercedes. They both have 4 wins apiece. Williams has 3 victories, and Red Bull and Renault have 2 wins apiece. And if you're wondering who has those 2 wins with Red Bull, who won the last 2 races? Max Verstappen.
Yep.
Now let's get into the predictions, obviously, for the 2020 season opener for the F1 World Championship. Who's going to win the season opener? I don't want to give him the answer away. I'll let Justin start. I know Justin, he's giving me that look. I have it.
Okay. This driver, you should know, this driver, last year, he ran so strong.
Is he the defending champion?
Yes.
Of course it is.
Lewis
of course
Hamilton.
it is the defending champion.
Hey, I would have to go with him, Lewis Hamilton, for this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the same thing, man.
Only one win as Lewis Hamilton have at, but the quest for 7 and tying Schumacher is there. Lewis Hamilton's only win was at 2016 at this track, but I think it's going to be a driver that will bring the world to its feet. Obviously, from the couches at homes all around the globe. He drives for Ferrari.
Oh God.
He's not my all-time favorite driver.
Okay.
Charles Leclerc.
Okay, that is better.
If you guys don't know me, my favorite driver is Sebastian Vettel.
But last year, Vettel last year was kind of embarrassing. I don't know why he just.
And so were Ferrari fans how they felt after Leclerc losing.
Ferrari
contact.
Yeah, and Ferrari was kind of Ferrari's strategy was totally kind of smart.
Team orders.
Yeah, their strategies. I'm like, what are you doing? And literally, somebody once said that F1 2010 there was something about make the call, and they literally tell that to Ferrari because they didn't make the best pit strategy.
Or the embarrassment they pulled in 2002.
Unbelievable. I don't even want to get into that. I don't even want to get into it.
Rubens Barrichello. I still think Ferrari owes like a whole lot of
explanation.
Compensation, like if you have mesothelioma, you kind of like mesothelioma, like that stuff, for what they made Rubens Barrichello do.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, guys.
I mean, even Ferrari fans were booing. It was so embarrassing. But I think we're gonna see something way past that.
Don't you think?
Or how about when Hamilton made contact with Nico Rosberg and won the damn race in 16? And then Rosberg was furious.
That was not good, man.
But remember before in 2016 when at
Spain.
Oh yeah, and that race
they took each other out.
Yeah,
on the opening lap.
I was so confused. I'm like, why did they wreck each other?
That was very complicated.
All right, so I think we have everything covered. I don't know what Herbert Solomon's doing. Apparently.
But the only other thing I see.
I don't know if he has a prediction or not.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
For what? Which one?
Formula One.
So Lewis
Hamilton. Okay, you already said Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
D-Dog Dan, how's it going? Subscribe to this
channel.
channel.
My table's trying to. D-Dog Dan?
Yeah.
You say D-Dog Dan. What up, D-Dog?
What's going on, man?
Also, the only other events going on is basically the Formula 2, Formula 3 feeder series and other little races going on.
By the way, we do have a lot of things.
Headlines.
Yes, we have a lot of headlines. Let's start with what we learned today. Mercedes have changed their liveries to paint black liveries for awareness of diversity, and it's a pretty decent scheme. I think it's got that chrome look.
Yeah.
Very different from your traditional silver scheme, and I feel like we'll see that return sooner or later. But
yeah,
nice little difference for 2020. Jimmy Johnson, if you've heard, I don't know, this is still developing news. Jimmy Johnson was to schedule an IndyCar test session at Sebring with McLaren. With the pandemic, no go. But sometime in July at the Indy Road Course, I almost said Grove Course, like Grover Cleveland, former president. Indy Road Course, he will do a test session with Ganassi in an IndyCar.
Ganassi, yeah.
I'm very excited.
At IMS.
IMS. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it is.
He's been wanting to do IndyCar for a while.
He's been.
That's what I've been hearing. He bought an iRacing rig. I don't know if you saw that, like that first iRacing event. He was running his IndyCar rig.
Yeah.
He said he didn't like it at all, but
no. But it's coming along now. I think something is forming. Obviously, 2020 is Johnson's farewell tour in NASCAR, and the door is wide open for racing outside the 4 left turns in 2021. So where will that lead Johnson? Who knows? Financial struggles continue to plague teams, including Xfinity Series team RSS Racing. I think we discussed this earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, I heard it earlier. I was watching.
The thing is, their number 93 entry, which is their second car, which they started fielding that car in 2016.
Yeah.
That car, even with Starm parking, which Jeff Green did that at Pocono, they still don't have enough money. But this thing, what they decided to do, they decided to have Rayom Brothers Racing, owned by Josh Rayom, field and manage that number 93 entry, while RSS focuses on the 39. So basically, you know where the race shop for RSS is in Tucker, Georgia. That's where their team is. So Rayom Brothers Racing is in Charlotte, so that's where they're going to start preparing that number 93. We don't know who's going to be listed owner, if it's still going to be RSS or Josh Rayom. That's unknown, but RSS is going to start preparing that car. With the drivers are still Jeff Green and Maya Snyder, and when Snyder's driving that 93, Jeff Green's the crew chief. But Josh Rayom, the thing about Rayom, he knows he has more funding, and also he knows he's worked with Ryan Sieg before.
Yeah.
And he also knows how to manage a team, and he could manage that and help the team, which is really good of Ryan Sieg asking for Josh Rayom's help, because they need the money to field that car for Ryan Sieg. Remember, they were starting parking the 93 for Ryan Sieg to put money into his car.
Yeah, in the main car, number 39.
And possibly the 38, which is their third car, that is possibly shutting down. It looks like they're going to be shutting down because they tried starting parking 2 cars and there's still not enough money. That's why they're giving...
Even the money from just finishing and keeping your cars preserved isn't enough. And that's the business nature in 2020, unfortunately. It's a phase. I feel like they'll be back with more cars to a grid in the next few years. But as for now, in the short term, they have to do what they can. Okay, let's get into other racing news, obviously.
See some news about Kevin Harvick not doing some celebrations and stuff until fans return.
I mean, he did state that he's lost interest in celebrating, obviously, because it's hard to celebrate when there's no fans cheering and screaming for you in the background. Let's see what else. Okay, let's get a little more serious here. But on a good note, the FBI, of course, federal investigation was performed on Talladega Superspeedway after the alleged noose found in Bubba Wallace's garage. After further investigation, there will be no more investigations later. It's just no actions. And I'm glad this is the case, because I would hate to see someone. It would be awful if someone working for the sport would pull something like that.
Nah,
First and foremost, let's make it clear: this was a garage door pull. It's a manual door. You pull it to close the door.
Yeah.
Pull the rope, but it was tied like a noose, and found in 2019. Sorry to cut you off there, Herbert.
So my suspicion is what this is just my idea is that maybe someone happened to maybe it was too long and they wanted to shorten it up. Maybe they did that. Hold on. Maybe they were just they had it too long, so they needed to make it shorter, and so they did it in a noose tie, which maybe they weren't thinking at the time that was going to cause so much controversy. So I think that was maybe what happened there, in that it wasn't really pushed at Bubba Wallace as what he took it as.
Yeah.
Whereas Bubba Wallace, he has every reason to believe what happened because of how it happened to him. Go ahead, Justin.
And also, the thing about when they discovered it, that was there in October 2019. That garage stall was actually the 21's garage stall, which is
Paul Menard.
Yeah, and people are
There's
wondering.
a picture of it.
Yeah, people are wondering, did Menard's crew tie it like that because it was too long? So who put it like that? That's still unknown. If it was like that in May of 2019, that's still unknown.
Didn't they find 6 other garages were tied like that though? At least that's what I heard. I don't know if it's true. So I don't know. There's one found at Sonoma too. There's an actual noose.
Yeah, that was
a real one.
Yeah,
and that's awful.
Yeah,
awful, man.
I don't know if that was an innocent, move by someone in that garage stall back in 2019.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how garage stalls or paddocks are given, it's basically kind of like how you do qualifying and not qualifying with the point standings really place you in certain places. If you're in the top 10 points, you get certain garage stalls.
Yeah, so he clearly, from some people's perspective, some others believe some other things, that maybe it was just because of the points. Some other people believe something else, But it's a shame that that it was tied like that, and it happened to be Bubba Wallace. But I'm glad that no one did it on purpose. That it was clear that no one was on purpose.
That shows you the nature of people who work and have their dedication to NASCAR. That shows you the nature of the people who are involved in the sport. That's and how they handled the situation on Sunday with all the unknowns was just very, very moving. All right.
Go ahead.
Let's see. 6 Hours of the Glen is now moved to Labor Day weekend. Obviously, this was supposed to be a race on July 4th weekend, traditionally.
And then moved to October. And then now it's on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. Back to NASCAR. 19,000 fans will be allowed at the New Hampshire race at Loudon on August 2nd. The NASCAR Cup Series will be racing at New Hampshire Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire on August 2nd. 19,000 fans will be allowed to pay tickets and attend the race.
How many people are allowed, you just said?
19,000.
19,000. But usually, I believe that track hosts around 40 to 50,000 people.
Yeah.
76,000.
Oh, 76,000.
76.
Yeah.
That's a lot more, but that's just under half of the capacity.
Yeah.
A lot more people. I think once more fans get involved, you feel the energy coming from the drivers. Will feel the energy coming from the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. All right. This is off-track news. Anna Beatrice, who has a racing Sweden. Her nickname is I forgot. Bia Figueiredo. Figueiredo. Yes, a Brazilian driver who raced in IndyCar for a good amount of years,
and also raced in the
Sports
24 hours of Daytona with an all women's team with Maya Shank Racing.
That was actually last year.
Yeah, that was last year. That was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember.
Unfortunately, this is not how we're talking about Ana Beatriz. She is behind bars in Brazil for embezzlement and money laundering.
Oh.
Her husband is also in prison in Brazil as a result, and there more information that is still yet to be released about, you know, how severe this kind of crime is, but obviously that's not a way you want to end up on the news.
No.
Let's see what
Natalie
else.
Decker.
Oh yeah, I was just about to talk about Natalie Decker. She had gallbladder surgery a few weeks ago, and actually had a surgery in the off season.
Yeah.
And had to miss the
She
truck
didn't race this weekend, right?
Yeah, she
No.
missed it. She was in the hospital.
unwell
And-
after a gallbladder surgery.
Yeah. So she was in the hospital. She couldn't race, so they just put Bailey Curry in that 44 truck during the weekend because he was.
How did he run?
He ran 16th. He was in the top 10 at one point, and also Bailey Curry. He was already at the track anyway. He was racing that Xfinity race later on Sunday, so that's one reason he was already there.
He was on the job.
Yeah, I know some other NASCAR drivers deal with health conditions such as, I mean, we saw Ryan Reed, how he raced with diabetes for years.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, what happened with Matt Tifft and how Matt Tifft had to put his career to the side because of health issues. But as for Natalie Decker, there's still a road to recovery.
Yeah,
take your time. That's when a driver's or an athlete's in that situation, there's no rush.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we had.
Any ARCA news? Listen, any?
Yeah, we'll be racing this weekend at IRP for ARCA.
Yeah.
Wait, Joseph, you know what? Angela Ruck sponsorship issues for her. She was supposed to run full time in that 00. Well, she couldn't run Pocono. Yeah, she lost her sponsor issues, so that's why Rayom drove that truck. So we don't know if she's going to run it.
She drove the other truck too.
Yeah, like we don't know if she'll be running. That's unknown because her sponsor issues. So
I know she raced for BJ McLeod here and there in Xfinity, so don't be surprised if we see Ruck in that car.
But we did just depend on her sponsors.
Yeah. Let's get into sports cars again, and this is a very interesting topic. Obviously, Bentley has a GT3 program. They pulled out of the Intercontinental GT3 Championship after a Cinderella story victory at Bathurst for the 12 Hours of Bathurst in February. However, they had to pull out due to financial issues. But they brought up a certain question that we've heard a lot in GT racing. Obviously, GTE racing, what we see in Le Mans with the LMGT cars, have become more and more unobtainable when in terms of financial stability.
Yeah.
And Bentley has advocated for the GT3 class to become the lead GT class spec.
Wow.
Now, let's think for a moment. GT3 cars are all over the globe.
Yeah.
There's a GT3 race going on almost every week. It doesn't matter with the sanctioning body. Manufacturers are supporting this. Teams are supporting GT3 racing all over the globe. Of course, they compete for the overall win at the Nürburgring 24 Hours, as well as Spa and Bathurst and pretty much every other big race. But the question could be, will these kinds of cars be able to race at Le Mans and Daytona as the lead GT3 class or the lead GT class? I am saying no. And
No.
why no? Well, there's a pandemic going on, which has affected GTE teams like Porsche. I know BMW left on their own terms. Aston Martin doesn't race in the United States, but they race worldwide in the WEC. Ford pulled out last year. The Dodge Viper pulled out like 4 years ago. Porsche. I think Porsche pulling out of the USA program has created a very alarming reaction from other manufacturers, whether they're deeply involved in GTE racing or not. And I think maybe they're making a good point here that this should be considered. But what's wrong with 4 or 5 GTE cars competing for their own class and just including the GT3s at Le Mans? Just a hypothetical example. Or do what the European Le Mans Series does and allow the GTE AM cars to race. GTE AM is created for privateer teams to race those cars and a lower spec, older year model vehicles.
Yeah.
But this will be a very interesting topic when we talk about Le Mans, hopefully in September. Now, obviously, travel restrictions are there; they're everywhere.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is just another stepping stone of what 2020 has to offer. And yeah, I'm excited. What race are you most excited for this upcoming weekend? Because we're about to end this podcast. I want to hear it. I want to hear you guys.
I want to see the Xfinity series. I'm gonna have to say the Xfinity series at the road course.
Yeah.
Seeing see who can handle the track.
Yeah, I'm about to say the same.
Yeah, me too.
Xfinity and the Indy Grand Prix.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
All the road courses seem to have more action. I like the road course.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see the IndyCar race. But the Austrian Grand Prix is what I'm most excited for. You can't compare, honestly. They're all of them have high anticipation. Everyone have a happy and safe 4th of July. For my partners,
hey
Justin
Joseph,
Hebert.
wait, gotta wait.
Hey,
Also, people that live in Canada, Canada Day's on July 1st.
Oh, yeah, you can't forget the Canadians, man.
Yeah.
Hey, again, thanks for having me. I'd like to do this more often if I can. Thank you guys.
You're more than welcome to join.
Yeah.
Thanks, Danny.
Go ahead, Joseph.
All right, I think this is a good stopping point for the podcast. I think we're all tired here. For my partners, Justin Hebert and Daniel Ford, and guest Herbert Solomon. Thanks for joining. Nice to have a guest once in a blue moon. I'm Joe Laney. Have a happy and safe 4th of July. We'll see you next week.
Moonsong.